got our podcast, thinking you should watch it. If you driving, man, it's good for you to listen. No, we keep it real. No, we spit it raw. Sports dialogue. No, it's good if I'm involved. No, we're not the news. We just cool dude with nobody to impress. Just talking our shit. Call it Pressman coverage. Pressman coverage.
Welcome into Pressman Coverage, a podcast dedicated to you, the fan of a team with two first-team All-Pro players, Big Jeff Simmons, Chimere, DK. We are back, dog. There's not a lot to talk about when it comes to ball players, but I know we got two of them, dog. Talk to the people, Cody. How you feeling, baby?
Well, it's Captain Cody Moore to you. But
That's
hey,
right.
we got two big all-pros. Hey, at least there's a little light at this crappy of a season.
Man. Sauce, how you feeling, baby?
I'm good, man. Can't complain, man. Yeah, it feels good to have at least two of them, man, with just how this season has been going. Got two on the board, baby. So, hey, we starting to build the right foundation. You know what I'm saying? It feels good. Liam, how you doing, man? You're in a little off location, man. You look to
we off
a little
site.
vibey back
we
there,
off
man.
site today.
You know what
we
I'm
off
saying?
site today, man. Little family, little trip. But we gotta bring the people the news. Today we are doing a season review. We just want to talk about what happened, some of the details of what happened, our opinions on it, and that'll help us catapult ourselves into our off-season schedule. Before we dive into today's episode, just to let you guys know, it's about to come hot and heavy. I mean, it's just that simple. It's about to come hot and heavy for you guys. We've got episodes related to drafts, the coaching searches. We've got a few surprise episodes coming up for you guys just in terms of some things we've been cooking up on the background. We are really excited about the offseason. Cody, tell me this. Without giving out the name, just tell me one of your favorite offseason things that happen. Are you a draft guy? Are you a free agency guy? Coach guy? Like, tell me, what do you like?
Well, when you're as bad as we are, it's always good for the draft purposes of it. But I think this year I'm really excited to kind of see how this is going to go with the whole coaching search.
Yeah.
See who we bring in for sure.
It's Randy, what's your favorite, man?
Man, I mean, the market has opened up recently. I mean, from what I had at first, it's starting to expand. But I mean, I really like, I know we haven't interviewed him yet, but I really like Brian Flores. I like Mike McDaniel. I like Cliff Kingsbury. That's just to name a few. But I want some of those guys that's going to come in here and like turn it
I
up.
cannot
bro.
wait to record
saying,
that episode.
I'm telling you, dude.
Wait.
Y'all sleeping on it.
I cannot
Y'all
wait.
sleeping on it. I think him and Cam could do something special.
I think what's going to hurt your feelings is we've requested to interview 16 people. I don't think I've seen Brian Flores' name come up.
No,
and
I
probably
haven't,
won't. And that's what's going to hurt you is we won't even give him an interview chance. So that's great. That's great. But we've got a lot of episodes coming for you soon. But today to talk about, and to dig into what we want to break down, we've got to start with Mr. Cameron Ward and just talk through his season a little bit, like it was one of those seasons where I feel like I went through just the roller coaster of what is essentially a rookie season. I started off like, man, Cam, nothing's on Cam. We can't do any wrong. The defense is letting him down. He has no weapons, whatever. To, okay, Cam, you better pick it up, young man. To getting back to, we've got our guy. So, it was been an ebb and a flow of a season. I don't care who takes it, man. Y'all talk to me about the Cam Ward season and just your general feelings of it.
Go ahead, Randy.
Man, where do we start? I mean, and we'll get into it later on, but I came in on high expectations. I had this guy set on the pedestal somewhere just unreachable, man.
Let's just talk about it. Let's talk about it. We're here now. Let's talk about it. So Sauce's prediction, I'll talk about Cody's when we flip to him, for Cam's season was, well, first of all, Cam Ward's season was 3,100 yards, 3,160 to be exact, 17 total touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Sauce had him on pace for literally 1,000 more yards, so 4,100, 4,150, 32 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. One of those categories was better than we thought it would be, was the interceptions. The other ones are absolutely crazy. Anyway, Sauce, talk to the people.
I mean, if we start near, right, I just thought, you know what I'm saying, with Cali having a brand new year to revamp the team, do his thing, pick the quarterback he wanted. Approaching it from that standpoint, I thought he would be able to turn it around like that. It was a rude awakening that Brian Callahan wouldn't fit for the job and the team crumbled under his leadership. That's essentially why I was 1,000 off and every other category like suffered. It was just it was a lot more things we had to work on as a team. And yeah, we got hit in the mouth for it for sure. I mean, I don't know. I still don't necessarily know if I fully agree with Cali being fired 6 games in, but I don't know.
Dude,
I'm just saying that for
elaborate.
the sake of
Please.
so I get it. Mike McCoy was a quarterback coach and he was able to work with Cam like that. Bo Hart agreed, got switched over to play calling and all of those other things. But I don't know. It's just a catch-22. Like I don't know if Cali would have stayed here, would Cam have suffered more? Would it have been more detrimental to the team and him, or the way that it went? Either way, I mean, I still seen progressive growth from Cam, and that is exciting. But I don't know. You know,
So you would have liked Brian Callahan to be here longer?
I'm not saying that. We're not going to twist my words and turn it
That's
into
what it
that.
sounds like.
I'm just
No,
kid-
so tell me what you're saying, because we're prepared to laugh.
Well, what I all I'm saying is I'm just curious. Like in hindsight, I'm just curious if Cali was here, would it have been completely worse, or would Cam still have the trajectory we seen? Like would he still the progression? I'm just saying.
We're ready.
I'm just saying.
Get the tomatoes out. Throw them at him.
No, I mean it's a fair question though. You know, like was the growth more of Cam just
Was it
progressing
him?
throughout his rookie season? I get the question you're asking. Let me say that before audience members think I'm agreeing with his stupid stuff. Like
Yeah,
no,
that-
like no, but really I understand the question. I really do. But I don't know.
It's just
man.
in hindsight. We seen how the rest of the season played out. From the bye after, we seen how the season played out. We seen what Cam did. We seen how the other guys started to play together. And we'll get into these other guys, you know, the Elix, the Chimere DKs, the Chigs, so on and so forth. I'm just curious. You know what I'm saying? I just, that's all.
You know what I'm curious of? I wondered
Okay.
that if we went in without Callahan being the coach at all, and Mike McCoy was the coach, how much Cam Ward would have done better. I bet you the game plans for the Broncos would have been better. I bet you his stats would have been better. I think Brian Callahan did not do much for Cam Ward.
Man. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Coaching malpractices up and down the list of the first 6 games. I mean, he didn't know the rules. We've gone over everything. He failed Cam Ward in more ways than one. So he should have been fired sooner, to be completely honest. He probably been fired after the first year.
So you think in that particular scenario, and we'll get into like the stats and the numbers. You think we probably would have been drastically like worse with him and him. You don't think he would have been able to turn it around or like
Callahan?
Uh-huh.
No, I think the team was out on Callahan like from whenever he called that timeout when the fans were getting mad at him.
Yeah.
He lost.
And
the
on that
locker
fourth
room.
down where he kicked the field goal.
He lost the locker room. Sure. Do I think that there could have been marginal progression from Callahan over the course of a season? Yes, I think when it's your first time doing something, you do get sometimes you get a little bit better as you go, but
It was just over.
yeah, But the little bit better from how low he was. You know what I mean? Like.
I just don't understand how he got worse with more experience. It's just like
It's crazy.
last year. I don't remember him having all these little coaching gaffes and everything, and then the next year, he's got more experience, and the coaching is worse. Everything is worse. I don't know.
forgot the
Doesn't know
rules. Like
he
what's
forgot the
going
rules,
on,
bro.
man? Like what's going on? And to be honest with you, I did think Callahan was going to improve coming into the season. and I know we're talking about Cam, but coach and quarterback are so connected.
Yeah.
I thought Callahan would improve coming into the season. Just again, as you mentioned, Cody, just based on experience, and I thought that maybe we brought in a few more experienced pieces around him to help assist. I thought Bill year 2 would be all right, but
Yeah.
just no, just no. The
Man.
questions we had around, hey, is it just Will? Um, were answered. Where it wasn't just Will. Do I think Will was a perfect quarterback? No, but I do think some of the decisions that Callie was making, emphasized some of the issues that we saw with Will, and he didn't allow him to grow. Now, do I think that Will Levis, as Borgonzi said, has a place on this team? I don't. I don't. That was perfect GM talk. That's great. That's like you go to court, in the middle of a divorce, and they're like, am I going to have any problems out of you two if I let you guys go without paying child support? Nope, no problem, sir. You won't have anything. Knowing good and well, you're going to get the cussing if she ever puts you on child support. Anyways, that's that. But Cam Ward, just to kind of not wrap up the conversation, but the pivot to really, Cody, I know you gave your thoughts, but jumping into what you predicted for him, you were the closest in your numbers for him. You actually were darn close. With 3,600 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, 15 interceptions is what your predictions were. And, again, your season aligned with essentially what was Mac Jones' first year in the league, which was 3,800 yards, 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. So, Cody, tell me, why you think he fell short passing yards wise, and then just kind of give me for his season based on him falling short of your standards, not standards, but your predictions. Do you think this season was a failure for him as a player, or do you think it was a successful season for him?
So I would say that it was a tale of two seasons, really. I mean, the first 8 games, it was getting to the point where I was getting legitimately concerned about him as being our number 1 pick and being the quarterback. I saw the flashes, but I was hard on him about missing the easy ones. And there was plenty of games at the start. He threw for 112 yards, 42% against the Broncos. He threw for 108 yards, 38% against the Texans. I mean, there was just certain games where he struggled mightily. And I was concerned, but to go like with the stats and everything, to me, he was never projected to be like the next Andrew Luck. He's really considered a project. Somebody's got to be worked on a little bit. And, he showed flashes that he can do so much stuff with his arm, but I think in his feet and his legs and everything, he just has to work on those mechanics. And, we predicted like Calvin Ridley to get 1,000 yards, and he had lost Calvin Ridley after 4 or 5 games. Yep. So, losing your number 1 target, and you're having to depend on your, 4th round, 5th round wide receivers and Chigakonkwo. I mean, it's just tough sledding, especially when TP at the start of yeah.
Not too much on Chick.
We're going to get to that. I promise you we're going to get to that. We're slow walking it, but we're going to get to that, I promise you.
But yeah, I mean, like in the second half of the season, I mean, he was awesome. I mean, to be honest with you, he was 62% completion percentage. I think he had 10 touchdowns, maybe just 1 pick. And the offensive line started playing a lot better too and protecting him, started giving him some time. So I think it's all coincide together with Brian Callahan getting fired. I think Mike McCoy put together better game plans for him, whether we like, even if it was Bones Foster leaving. If it was the one, Bones Foster was the one putting together all the game plans. But, yeah, I mean, I go into the offseason, I feel pretty optimistic about Cam Ward's trajectory.
I want to piggyback on that real quick. So, to Cody, I agree with everything that you're saying. And I think earlier in the beginning of the season, we wanted to see the full package of Cam, and we definitely saw it post by. Oh, yeah, pause that up. That's crazy. But it was some of those things. It was some of those. It was some of those things we wanted to see from Cam of like easier check downs. stray away from the hunting if it's not there. You know what I'm saying? Like using his feet more. Like if the pocket is breaking down, get out of there and pick that first down up with your feet and slide. You know what I mean? It was just some of those things he wasn't doing at the beginning of the season that you could see he was going through the rookie woes. You had some of the other guys are having to rely on the threes and fours to make those catches. Some of those tough drops. We even had some of those veterans that could have been sure hands, like Lockett and Van Jefferson was dropping passes. I mean, it was pretty bad out there. You know what I mean? Some passes, Cam was just off target a little bit, and it was good to see him progressively just get better and work on the minute like details, and to get there at post by to essentially turn it around and up his completion percentage. Like it's good to watch, and those were the traits that I wanted to see. So I agree with you.
Yeah, I guess the last game of the season was the reason why Cam Ward was like, this is why I'm not running, guys, because now my shoulders ripped apart. That one hurt my soul, bro. Like, we haven't talked about that yet. Him going out with his shoulder, that one pained me, and it coming off a run, I was just like, damn.
Yeah,
that was rough. That was rough. And, just to kind of button up the conversation around Cam, because we will have some film reviews, some deep dives. We'll talk a lot about Cam throughout the offseason, obviously. A raw comparison for the pre-bye, he was 57.6%, 5 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He was 72 passer rating. He took 38 sacks. I mean, he only had 46 rushing yards as well. In the last 8 games, 62.4 completion percentage. As Cody mentioned, 10 touchdowns, 1 interception, 90 overall passer rating. Only took 17 sacks compared to 38, which is an improvement to the O-line, which we'll talk about in a second. Rushing attempts, he actually had 113 rushing yards. At 5.4 was his average in terms of rushes and 2 rushing touchdowns, including the one that knocked him out for the season, but it is what it is. So I think overall, I'm jumping into
go over your numbers, bro.
Yeah, I had him for 3,800, 28 touchdowns and 12 picks. I was somewhere in between Cody and Sauce. I personally believe the yardage, I don't think he would have been able to get to, but I do think that he could have had around probably Cody's number in terms of touchdown passes if other things were clicking earlier in the season, or pass catchers, being a little bit more improved, the scheme being a little better. But the biggest 2 things for me is being the run game and the offensive line. I think if those things were shored up a little bit earlier, we'd had a few more drives that were extended, which would allow for a few more touchdowns to squeak in there, asking for 5 more for the year. I definitely think would have happened, and he would have been around that 22, 23 mark, and would have statistically had what everybody would view as a pretty solid season. But I do like that the general media, I know it's not about them, but the general media has acknowledged, post-bye, Cam Ward looked like a fine quarterback. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he didn't look like a world beater who could do everything, but you have to respect the numbers that he put up. And I think that he's going to be somebody who continues to push the ball forward for us. But it's going to rely on a few of these guys we're about to talk about, which is the pass catching room. So we spoke about quite a few pass catchers. I want to have a quick Calvin Ridley conversation, and I do mean quick because I know this episode could get pretty long-winded, but quick question. This isn't a free agency conversation, but we're not going to dive into a lot of Calvin Ridley stats. My question for you is, regardless of what happens in the draft and free agency, what are the odds, and I know you just can't ignore those things, but what are the odds you guys bring back Calvin Ridley? Are you guys completely out on him coming back next season? Or do you look at the free agency class and say, you know what, we've got plenty of money. We don't need the extra $13 million.
I'm ready to move on. I'm personally ready to move on. I mean, even when he played this year, he was dropping the ball left and right. It felt like it always takes some time to kind of ramp up. It takes him 4 or 5 games to ramp up. This goes back to Jacksonville too. I mean, he would struggle early in Jacksonville, and then the 5th or 6th game, he kind of get going. And even with this year, Cam Ward talked him up, called him the best wide receiver in the league and all this other stuff. And, he couldn't even catch the ball for him. So, to me, I'm just kind of ready to just cut bait. draft a receiver, get one in free agency, and just move on. I don't know about you, Randy. What you think?
I completely disagree. I'm not out on Calvin Ridley. I think when you look at the free agency, to me, Calvin Ridley is bounds and leaps above those guys. I just think you need to add to that room, take some of the pressure off of Ridley. I know we paid him and what we forced him into doing, but I think you just add to addition of those rooms. And I think with Calvin Ridley being there, it takes some of the pressure off the other guys and where they can go at their pace and develop. They were forced into a unwinnable situation. Now you either swim or you sink in those type of situations. Guys like Ellick, Gunnerham, if we don't have the talent there, if they can't step up with that type of playing time and learn on that type of pace, they will struggle. And we seen some flashes from Ellick, and we seen some that was just like that was a rookie. Whoa. But for a guy like Calvin Ridley, that's a veteran that those guys look to, I think you need to keep him in that locker room, then draft, and just add to that room. Let his contract play out, in my opinion.
What do you think, Lynn?
Man.
It's a tough.
I'm gonna
call
be
for
grateful.
sure.
I'm gonna be grateful because at the start of the season, Calvin Ridley,
What's
it
it be
looked
grateful
special
for?
in the preseason before the season started. It looked like a special connection. It looked like something that was gonna be, it's up. Like
So
these
here's my
guys
question.
are gonna be a nasty duo.
Who is he playing
That-
against in the preseason? He's probably playing against the twos.
Still though, just building that chemistry, it looked promising. And we really didn't get to see a fair glimpse of that. He got hurt.
We did see a glimpse of it, Randy. When nut cutting time happened, he dropped the ball.
Well,
mean,
I will
yeah.
say this. He did in that Cardinals game. He did make that big catch to put us in position.
That put us in position to win that game.
So he was up.
Shout out
I-
D.
I'll tell you-
Marcado too.
Listen, you
So
want us to
big-
put us in
big D.
position to win
Pause.
that game? Yeah, I was about to
Big D.
say.
Whoa.
Yeah, Big D
Cam
Marcado,
Ward
I'll
threw an
finish that thing.
interception. It ended up in a touchdown for us. I ain't never seen it before.
Hey, look here, baby. God is good. So, where I'm at with Calvin is I just feel like I'm talking out of the side of my neck sometimes because in free agency, I'd probably say, I'm not probably. If who we think is going to hit the market hits the market, which means, the Pickens don't of the world, you know what I mean? Ridley is probably either on the same tier or slightly better potential. I don't know.
None of those guys are going to be able to add that impact. I'm sorry.
I don't
In
know.
the free
Alec Pierce
agency
has
that's
been
coming
balling.
up.
Alec Pierce has been
He's a
balling.
good
Alec
role
Pierce
player.
averaged 20 yards.
He's a good role player. He's not prepared to be the one. He's not prepared to be wide receiver one.
Well, neither is
Sorry.
Calvin Ridley.
But that's the other side of it that I think. Yeah, but
He got his chance. I can't argue
They
with
about
that.
to
He
choke
got his
each other.
chance. Yeah, he got his chance. I can't argue with that, man. But
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just
he
saying.
didn't show himself to be like a dominant one. He was our one. But it's like I feel like I'm talking out of two sides of my neck because it's like get Cam more weapons, and it's like, all right, do I want to just rely on Romeo Doubs and Alec Pierce, or do I want to rely on Jordan Tyson and Alec Pierce? Now that sounds much better than what we have, but to kind of fit into Cody's scenarios where he like people to be properly slated, I would love for it to be a situation where we've got an Alec Pierce, we pick up Tyson, we still have Ridley. Now we've got Alec in that wide receiver 4 spot, and then you've got Chim who can still be the slot guy. You know what I mean? And we've got 3 other receivers that just kind of rotate. And everybody who comes in the game can be productive. That's where I would love to still see that. But I also understand if it's just time. I get the age factor of it. I get the injury factor as well because he wasn't always healthy the year before either. But I still think he can be a 1,000-yard guy. And I can't say the same for Romeo Doubs. You never know with a rookie coming into the league, even if he is a first-round guy. I hate to be lukewarm on it, but I'm going to be for this one. It is what it is.
So if
And
you're
I-
Morganzi, does it give you more faith like what you saw out of Chim and Ellick? And I mean, even like a Gunner Helm and stuff like that to be like, okay, like I can trust these guys, and if I get somebody else to take Ridley's place, like I'm okay with doing that at like a cheaper price. I can use that money elsewhere.
Not at
So
all.
I'll say
'Cause
this, and then we'll just kind of jump to the other pass catchers in the middle of this conversation. So for Elick, that was a great segue, Cody, because we can just do this. For Elick, the projection for me was 550 yards, 5 touchdowns. For Cody was 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. And for Sauce was 400 yards, 2 touchdowns. He actually had 525 on 41 receptions and 4 touchdowns. So he was right around where I was. Actually, the issue is he led the league in drops, essentially. You know what I mean? Or drop percentage, whatever it is. So if I'm Borgo, I think I recognize if I'm building a team and I'm slow cooking the team, sure, maybe in 2 years he can turn into a solid wide receiver, 3-ish, 2-ish. But as of right now, if my goal is to make sure my quarterback this coming year has enough to be productive, I don't know if I can just trust an Elick and a Chim, because I think those are your role players, but not your gotta have it. It's 3rd and 8. Get open right now, guys. Sauce, what do you think?
I mean, just back to that point a little bit. I think if you looking at that, you keep Ridley and you supplement from free agency, you add to that room. You don't dismantle that room. It's already bad enough. And I mean, the things that we saw from Elick and the other pass catchers, I mean, it's promising, due through the rookie woes and everything else that they went through. But man, you just add to that. Those are things we would like to see. I do think Elick could, continue to progress. We've seen him make some big time catches. We also seen him just make some plays that was astonishing. Like some of those of Cam Ward's early touchdowns, like was Elick just being in sync with them. Like at first that looked promising. That looked like, oh, it's connection there. But yeah, you just add to that. Build.
Cody, what do you think? And I'll jump to this real quick. Talking about Elick, also Chim, I had him for 150, 1 touchdown. You had him for 250, 2 touchdowns. Randy had him for 300, 1 touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up with 48 receptions, 423 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
Man, nice.
Cody,
Nice.
what do you feel about Chim, man? Does he fit into if you're Borgo, is he a part of your future of the wide receiver room in terms of being a pass catcher?
Yeah, I think he's got the juice in order to what's going on?
I want you to just repeat that. I wanted to see, did I hear that fully correctly? Did you say you keep Jim Ray? Oh, not Jim Ray. I meant, I'm early. I thought it was Chigaconko.
Hey.
Oh man, I thought it was Chig term. I thought it was Chig term. Oh,
We'll get there,
Go
man.
ahead. How
You gonna
My
step
bad.
on me
My
and then
bad.
not even paying attention?
He stepped on you and changed the subject.
My bad.
out
I
of
heard
pocket.
Chig and I got excited. Boy, I
He heard
said,
chit.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah. Go ahead. My
But
bad.
yeah,
Cook.
so where do you slot him in terms of the future? Obviously we're gonna keep him on the team. He's a productive player, but where do you slot him?
I mean, I think Chimray DK with the juice that he has, and get more experience and everything, I think he can be a slot here for years to come. As far as that and being the return guy and everything, he's just super heady player, dude. I mean, he had that one drop where bounced into 50 feet into the air and he threw his hands in this. I mean, it was just unbelievable. But I mean, he's just the wide receiver that I really do trust the most right now on the team. I think he probably had the best connection with Cam going in, probably going out this season. So I would keep him around for a long, long time. I really would.
But yeah, Team Ray DK, man, he was a extreme bright spot for the team this year. Like he kept us going and gave us life in each game. Like it felt like anytime he touched that ball, whether if it was on special teams or the opportunities that he was getting on offense, it felt electric. It felt fun. Like as fans, it was fun watching him and how fast he was, and just so it's an exciting part to see him grow. I mean, he had a great attitude through all of the struggles of the team. Like you never seen him down. Like he is some of the traits of like the core piece that we'll continue to build this team around. So like that's a big shout out to Chimere DK this year, man. And I one more little small tit to like earlier in the season, we seen those flashes from, and this is why I probably had to walk back my part with like Brian Callahan, because like he really was like limiting and struggling him. Like, he wasn't getting many touches. He was only getting those end arounds, like gadget plays. And it's like, dog, get him like in the slot. Get him. He can run routes. You know what I mean? So, but pivoting to my guy, Chiga Okonkwo, and this is what I was waiting on. You know what I mean? He was the leading receiver. He had an outstanding year for me. I think, when we're touching on with those core pieces that you want to continue to build around, I'll say it time and time again. I do like the tandem with him and Gunnar Ham, in the locker room. I want to see those tight ends continue to build. Now, it will be interesting in free agency with guys that may come available, like, your Kyle Pitts and, so on and so forth. That would be interesting if you shook up the room like that. But I think Chig is still a valuable piece that you want to continue to build around. Some of his stats for this year. What did I project for him this year? Let me see.
You projected him to have 650 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns. Cody was 401 touchdown. I was 450-2. He ended up with 56 receptions, 560 yards.
Yep, 2 touchdowns. Yeah. So I was a little high in that. That's still coming off of me thinking the offense would be just clicking a whole lot better than it was, but he was still pretty much on pace, and that's what I wanted to see. So, yeah. What about you, Cody? Give me some. What do you think about Chig Okonkwo being the leading receiver?
Listen, I thought Chig Okonkwo played really well this season, to be completely honest.
That's what I was waiting for. That's all I wanted.
I'll be honest, I was surprised by that. I'm surprised he just said that.
He had his moments. But Cam relied on him, and he stepped up big time. Now this is all going according to properly slotting the roster and how he had to depend on Chig. But Chig answered the bell plenty of times. Do I want Chig to come back? I mean, he basically gave us a goodbye message on his Instagram. So I don't know if he thinks he's not coming back or what's going on with that.
Right.
It's contract time. It's contract time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, he could have
play the mind games. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, he started 30 minutes after the Jazz game.
That was already in his notes.
The draft was set up.
He posted.
He wrote that in week 14.
Yeah, he did. But yeah, I mean, he had that great catch and run. I can't remember who it was against where he broke 3 tackles off, probably a 50-yard touchdown.
That was the last home game, wasn't it, against the Saints?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He stayed upright and spent off of those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just, to me, kind of going into the offseason and stuff, I just don't know if losing Chig is worth it to just create another hole. Unless you're filling it with a Kyle Pitts, who I think is, light years better than Chig Okonkwo.
What tells you that? What tells you that?
I mean, did you see his year this year? I think he had 1,000 yards. That could be wrong. I may be a little aggressive. Don't. No.
You're a Florida guy. You're a Florida guy. No.
I mean, he did have 4 touchdowns in a game.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, if you're gonna supplement Chig with a Kyle Pitts, I'd be okay with that.
Would you think, due to the coach, whoever that we have, do you think they may be intrigued by expanding the tight end room like that and bringing a Kyle Pitts in to just create some different mismatches in the offense? Could you see that happening? Them re-signing Chig, Gunnar Ham, and a guy like Kyle Pitts in there? Or do you think
tell you who I think would have some fun with that? Mike McDaniel. I bet Mike McDaniel will figure out a way to get Chig and Kyle Pitts rolling.
Hey, on the field at the same time.
Going to a Texas route. But, I want to make sure I say this. Kyle Pitts had 928 yards and 5 touchdowns. 4 of them came in one game. But still, he played some ball this year. I didn't realize he had that good of a season.
It's a contract year, son.
Yeah, you got to get paid.
You got to get paid.
But, and when it comes to Chig, I'm with you, Cody. Unless you have a clear upgrade, I'm not going into the draft to replace Chig. I may sign him on another 2-year deal, and you see what Gunnar does within that time, and then you'll know, do I need to go get another guy? And you can draft somebody maybe next year in the draft, or even somebody late this year. That's totally fine. But I wouldn't mind just kind of seeing what that really would turn into, and just let him just rock out. Because you're right. We have enough holes on this roster, and he played well enough to be a part of the future, at least the short-term future. And the biggest thing for me is I want, as much as I know we need more pass catchers, I do want Cam to continue to have more and more people we can build chemistry on in that room. Like, I would hate for the chemistry to have to start over. People are figuring out what he likes to do in scramble drills. People understand, like, when they're chipping with the tackles, they're going to be here next year, like how they like the chip to happen. I want you to give a little bit more inside leverage, whatever it is. Like, there's benefits to having that continuity. And I think for a team that's growing and rebuilding, as many of those little places on the roster you can find that continuity, do it. At the end of the day, that's where I'm at with it. But I do think Chig is a fine play. Moving over to Gunner, I had him for 250 and 4 touchdowns. Cody had 280, 2 touchdowns. Sauce had 304 touchdowns. He actually ended up with 44 receptions, 357 and 2 touchdowns, excuse me. So, from a touchdown perspective, I actually thought he'd be a little bit more productive in the red zone. But
Yeah.
Cody mentioned the most trusted wide receiver was Chim. I would probably say so. But when it comes to the most trusted pass catcher in general, it's Gunner freaking Hill.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Gunner does not drop the football. I mean, he had a field
No.
we could have even challenged that were just spectacular catches. Gunner was solid this year, man.
Mhm.
He was. He was very, very special. And in some of those dire need times when, the guys wouldn't making plays, Cameron Ward had confidence that he could go to Gunnar Helm and he would make that play. Like, it was one of those towards the last game of the season, last few games of the season where Gunnar caught that joint like right there by the pylon. I wished, like, now that's a extremely, extremely tough catch. But man, if he would have just had the awareness to like just turn and stick that thing through the pylon, that probably would have been on the highlight plays. You know what I'm saying? And there's certain things like that where it's just like, oh, he's just a baller. Like, he could just play. Like, and that makes me excited to have him for the next few years to come and just see him and Cam continue in the build. But yeah, man, shout out to Gunnar Hill, man. He balled this year.
Moving to the trenches, right? Cody's favorite place to be, and probably where our most controversial topic is going to be. I'm going to keep this first one kind of short and sweet because we actually were all pretty much on target with this player. Tajay Spears, I had him for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Cody had him for 250, 2 touchdowns. Randy had him for 300, 2 touchdowns. We also all had him for about 100 yards receiving. Cody, I had him for 100, 125. Cody had him for 185, 200. For him, he ended up with 283 yards, 2 touchdowns. So literally, we all were within 20 to 25 yards of what we predicted for him. And we all nailed the touchdowns right on the head, around 2 touchdowns for him. In terms of receptions, he was pretty productive when it comes to that. He had 264 receiving yards total. For Spears, I'll just keep it quick with him. What scenario do you bring Spears back, or what scenario do you move on? What side of the fence do you stand on, and kind of what needs to happen for either one? Are you moving on no matter what, Cody, or are you keeping him around and not creating another hole? He's not on a contract year, but just in general.
I mean, I think I'm ready to move on from the entire running back room.
We'll talk about Pollard in a second.
I know, but
because this boy.
I know. Well, I'm just kind of looking at some of his previous games. I mean, against New Orleans, he has 6 carries for 2 yards. He had a game with 8 for 19 against Cleveland. Jacksonville, 2 for -1. 4 carries for 3 yards. I mean, he has a lot of games where he's just not doing much, and he's supposed to be the explosive one out of both of them. So, I really like Tajay Spears. When we drafted him, I was pretty excited for him. We see flashes from him, but I don't think those flashes just happen enough, in my opinion. Do I think he'll probably be back? Yeah, probably. I think he'll probably still be the third down back, just not with TP.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I'll second that. I agree. I'm indifferent. I don't feel either way. Like, if we let Tajay go, but I think he would be a good complimentary back if in those type of situations. Like, we'll get to Tony in a minute, but like, as far as with Tajay, I mean, like you said, we've seen the flashes. We continue to see, like, he does have juice and pop. I just my own little critique. I think sometimes he dances a little too much instead of just cutting and finding a hole. But when he does turn it on, he is electric. but we just didn't see it on a consistent basis. We haven't been able to see it on a consistent basis, and I think that's more so of the problem. And just the injury factor. But he played pretty good. He got hurt in the preseason, and he played pretty decent through the season of being available. So that I will give him credit for. But hey,
It's kind of interesting. His numbers got worse as the offensive line got better. It's just very.
I think it was due, and I think that was just due to opportunity. Tony cut it on like towards the end, and you're gonna feed the hot hand at that point. You know what I mean? And I think Tajay, he had to take the brunt of that. But yeah, if Tony's hot and he's running the ball at a better yard per carry, you're gonna give it to him. So, but that can transition us right into Tony.
Yeah, because I'm kind of with you guys. I'm really indifferent on whether they keep Tajay Spears. It's one of those where it's like he's a jag at the end of the day. He's just another guy. He's just another guy at the end of the day, man. Like I hate to say it, he can make people miss, but there's a lot of third down backs that do that. You know what I mean? And it's just one of those where it's like if Tony Pollard's hurt and he's our running back one for the game, I'm expecting a 20 carry, 60-yard game from him. So moving on to Mr. Tony Pollard. Oh, I love this conversation. I'm going to get my popcorn. Had him slated for 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, 25 receptions, 200 yards, 1 touchdown receiving. Cody had him for 900 yards, 6 touchdowns, 35 receptions, 260 receiving, 1 touchdown. Also had him for 1,000, 9 touchdowns, 150 yards receiving, and 3 touchdowns. He ended up with 1,083 yards, so he actually surpassed all of our guesstimates. 5 touchdowns, which was under all of our guesstimates, and then 206 receiving yards, which was right in between kind of where Cody and I were with 33 receptions, which Cody almost hit that on the head with 35. So talking about TP, he almost had a Cam Ward season, where the first few games you're like, all right, what's going on, buddy? and he hit a real low, but like he got 1,000 yards and he ran hard. Even in the games where he wasn't as productive, I don't think it was a lot of him missing holes or like not being able to just use the breakaway speed and be like, I think Tony Pollard was just a product of the success of the offensive line and the offense in general, and me personally, I'm bringing back TP, dog. Hell you talking about? Like y'all not about to disrespect TP like that, man. He runs hard. He runs through tackles. He did show some breakaway speed. Yeah, he's not the fastest guy in the league, but he's just as fast as David Montgomery. He don't be breaking away from folks. Like, I think that Tony Pollard is a fine running back, and he could come into the season being a running back. He'll get another 1,000-yard season. One of only 2 players in the league, he and King Henry, who have had 1,000-yard rushing seasons in a row. Bring back TP. I'm team no hairline like Randy TP. I'm not going, dog. I'm not going.
I got the best hairline on this show, bro. Like,
no,
why do y'all
come on, man, don't do that. Don't do that. Because if I do this, come on now. There's a reason why I'm in the dark, man. I don't want these people to get seasick from the waves.
Hey,
Cody, talk to the people about where you at on TP, because I feel disrespect. I feel it coming.
Yeah, I'm just ready to move on. With these running backs, man, once they kind of hit that 30-year-old age, I mean, he's 28, so once they kind of get a little older, I just think you try to get out ahead of it. I respect the fact that the Honda Accord went out there and got an oil change and got lubricated up and started running well again.
Whoa.
That's I mean, you can pause that up, but them knees got lubricated. So the thing with me is that I want to see a more explosive running back to be paired with Cam Ward. I think having somebody that can hit 50-yard runs on a more consistent basis would just be great for Cam Ward and his development as a quarterback. That you have to rely, the defense has to rely on stopping the run a little bit more. And with TP, he typically would get about 60 yards or whatever. But he had games where he had 18, 20. I'm just kind of ready just to put that on the back burner and move on, man. Like I respect that he had the 300-yard games to end the season. but I think that's like his last call. Hey, his last call to get a drink is his last call as a running back. Get him off the team.
Yeah,
Oh man.
yeah.
Sauce?
Hey man, I'm with Cody on that, man. I think he did well. He did well for us, but I don't think it's beneficial for him to end this season. I mean, end his career here, and for us to just continue to keep him. I agree with Cody 100%. You get out in front of it. I want a elite talent. Like Tony is a good, reliable running back, but I want elite talent back there. Because if you're doing that, then that helps Cam Ward more, and it continues to like fuel the offense forward. I don't think Tony does that. I think Tony is a product of everything clicking for the offense, and he benefits from that. You know what I mean? But I appreciate everything Tony did. He's he's a baller, man. But send him off, man. Send him off somewhere that you can get some value and go and get a little bit of younger talent. So
Okay,
I'd
here's
say
my
you either
question.
do it. Hold on, one more thing. You do it
Go
this
ahead.
year. You do it this year while he still has value. He just ended with 1,000 yards. Everything that you just said, still value there. Send him off. Send him off. Why he still has value? Because next year, I don't know.
So I'm not going to dive too deep into this because we have a free agent episode dedicated to this. But if you don't get Jeremiah Love in the draft, who has proven that they are a better running back than Tony Pollard, who's coming up? You say you want elite talent. Where's the elite talent coming up?
You meaning like in free agency? Like we have to.
I don't care where else you find it. Just nobody named Jeremiah Love.
his running back that's behind him. I ain't gonna throw the names out there. We'll get into that.
I think the thought is
Okay,
that you
okay.
you can just get younger at running back, and you can get it in the 5th or 6th round, or you can go in free agency and you can get a Brees Hall or a Javonte Williams, something like that.
Yep.
Kiss
You wouldn't
my
take Brees.
tail.
You wouldn't take Brees Hall.
We'll talk about it in the free agency episode because we're whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand the allegiance to Tony Pollard.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard ran hard. He had multiple 1,000-yard receiving seasons in a row. You guys talk about Brees Hall. Brees Hall is, I'm going to go ahead and say it. We can dive into it on the free agency episode. Brees Hall is Tajay Spears with more carries. I said it.
You are out of your freaking mind.
Whoa. Take the walk.
Well, here's
Take
the
a
thing,
lap,
man,
buddy.
is that
Are you
you know,
crazy?
before the 65-yard run that he had against Cleveland, I mean, his long was 21. I mean, his explosive play was like 15 yards. He's not hitting the home runs.
That's not his style.
But what
man.
I'm saying is that's the kind of running back that I want, and TP doesn't fit that.
All right, that's fine. I'm fine with what you want being different than what he fits.
They don't fear him.
But
Nobody
I'm
fears
a
TP.
productivity guy.
At all.
I want a guy who
They're
gets
stacking the
it done,
box.
who's
I mean, they're
on
not
the
even
field.
stacking the box for him.
He takes a lot of carries and doesn't get hurt. Like we talk about Brees Hall. He might get 5 carries and be up out of there. He's Anthony Davis, if you ask me. All right, look. So let's pivot real quick and have a few quick conversations about the offensive line. We don't really dive too deep into the numbers, but at the end of the day, they had an up and down season as well. I'm just going to give a broad landscape because we can dive into the individual players, Dan Moore and all of them. But just overall, I feel similar to the offensive line as I feel about Ellick, actually. I know this sounds crazy, but I think the potential is there. But some of the key things that are needed, we were not consistent enough with. I think the name of the game for the offensive line, and this extends to every player not named Peter Skoronski, is consistency. We saw good games out of Lloyd Cushenberry. We saw poor games out of him. We saw Dan Moore where, he came into – it's funny, man. I'll see if I can find it to plug it into the episode, but there was a graphic of, like, pressures and sack rates for tackles. Literally dead in the middle of the graphic was Dan Moore. He's literally just average, like just completely – it was hilarious to see. J.C. Latham had games where his penalties were terrible, but he was dominant in the pass blocking and run game. And then he had games where, he was decent in the run game and pass blocking, but he had no penalties. Like, just consistency is what I see needs to happen. I do think that Zeitler was actually consistently just solid. I don't think he had the elite impact that we thought he would, but I think he was a fine right guard for the season. But I'll shut up. Trench King himself, Cody, what do you think about the O-line's performance?
Well, at the beginning of the year, dude, it was bad. I mean, it was legitimately bad. I mean, Cam Ward, it felt like he was just under siege all the time. Start of the season, he was sacked 6 times against Denver, 5 times against the Rams, 4 times against Indy. And then we would go against like a good defense like the Texans, we'd give up 2. It's just like it was just so weird about how they would perform against like the better D lines in the league. But really in the second half of the year and really the last 5 games, they gave up 7 sacks in the last 5 games. And I remember at one point they were on pace to give up like 70 sacks. Cam Ward's going to get sacked 70 times. And I think the number ended up being like 55.
Yeah, I think headed into the bye, he had been sacked 38 times, and then 17 was what he was the last 8 or 9 games.
Yeah. So I mean, and listen, I don't know. You mentioned in the preseason about how it takes so much time for the offensive line to gel. I wonder why it was so much better when Corey Levin came in, and that's when TP started playing really well too. But
then it still carried when Cushenberry came back, so we can't say it was just that.
Well, yeah, but I remember when he originally came in, Corey Levin came in, Tony Pollard's averaging like an extra yard per rush.
That's true.
And
it's
so
like he kind of like sparked it.
Yeah, and so
almost.
I was kind of listening to some of the other media, and they were saying that how Cushenberry was hurt throughout the preseason, that maybe when they brought Corey Levin back in, that the camaraderie was back, and they all kind of knew like what was going on, and it kind of went back to like the practice days. So I don't know how to feel about this offensive line. I really don't, dude. This J.C. Latham stresses me out. He has all the potential in the world, but he just has yet to put together, to me, in my opinion, just the perfect game where it's either one flag, it's either one bad rep. But yeah, I'm still a little concerned about it. What do you think, Randy?
Man, I like how you put that with J.C. Latham, because I think that is a true assessment. Like, just going back and looking at some of the game film and some of the games and stuff. I'll tell you a bright spot in just a second. But like, yeah, with J.C. Latham, it always felt like every game he at least probably had like one terrible rep. You know what I'm saying? Like, or one offsides, or one penalty, one flag, something like that, to where it's just like, dang, bro, like, just lock in all the way. Like, to me, I think the upside for him is tremendous. It's just, he has to just fix the details. And I'm hoping that, whoever that we have a head coach can see the talent in JC and be able to hone in and get home with him to where he can play at an elite level. Now, speaking of elite level play, I want to pivot over to the left side, the left guard, Peter Skoronski. Oh my God. This dude has went above and beyond where we drafted him. I think he is an elite left guard talent. I've seen how this guy just moves people, man, and it's just different. Like, he has not missed at all this season. Like, he's played lights out. Now, due to how the offensive line is structured, he has to wear the brunt of his teammates, his guys that's on the side of him, but he has not slacked. And I mean, the way he mauls guys, the way he comes and pulls, like, it's special stuff, man. So I just wanted to kind of give him some love, give him a shout out to, yeah.
Yeah, just to pivot off of that. He started 17 games for the second straight season. He only allowed 2 sacks, 20 quarterback pressures allowed the entire
Crazy.
year, and then 0 sacks and 2 pressures allowed in the final 5 games. I mean, he was
Insane.
phenomenal. He was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And this kind of makes me wonder, and again, we've talked about this. There is a coach out there that can make this offensive line work.
Yep.
This thing is not, it doesn't have a massive hole like it has the past few years. You get the right coach in here, I think that this offensive line is very formidable. I mean, we were watching the last couple games, and then I was commenting, I was like, we are literally just mauling people in the running game. So I just there's no need to spend high draft capital or bring in high paying free agents for this offensive line. I don't believe.
No, and the good thing is Zeitler's the only one whose contract's up. So I would just love, I don't care what they do with Zeitler. Bring him back. I don't care. Replace him with another Jag. I don't care. At the end of the day, I want to see those other four guys really build chemistry. I want to see, there's been word, and if Paul Kaharski put out a story that Mike Munchak, depending on the head coach, will be interested in coming back. He's proven he can do it.
Oh, yeah.
So I would love for that to be something that happens and just continue to keep that together. One thing I did want to do as we pivot over to the defense here in just a moment is just talk about, because essentially all of these things happened on defense, is talk about some of the transactions that happened throughout the season, just briefly. So we released Tyler Lockett and Quandre Diggs. Non-stories, who cares? Even though I do think that Quandre played a few solid games, but the emergence of Kevin Winston is what really allowed that to happen. But the other side of the house, Roger McQuarrie was a guy we sent off to the Rams. Got a late round pick for him. Also on the other side, Draymond Jones. Oh my gosh, the kick heard around the world.
Ass Tyler Loop.
That would have been a 4th round pick. It's going to end up being a 5th round pick based on the conditions. Shout out to Draymond for meeting his side of the conditions, getting those sacks. Kenneth Murray was a trade that was forgotten about. He was actually traded before the season started, but during the technical 25-26 season, it was the first thing Berganzi did. He literally signed a paperwork saying, I'm the GM.
Get Murray the hell out of here.
Look, hey, the ink just dried on his contract.
They're like, but you haven't even met him. I said, get him out of here.
Yeah, it's like the president signing all the he's like, in my first motion.
Somebody slipped that page in there or something. It was like Chad Brinker wanted him gone the whole time, so he thought he was signing for insurance, and it was really the trade to get him out of here. But yeah, man, and then Jarvis Brownlee Jr., which was probably our most surprising trade of the year when we sent him off to the Jets for a late round pick. I think it was a 7th round pick. No, we got a 6th round pick back, but gave up a 7th. That was the most surprising, just given the state of where our cornerback room was at the time. And we came into the season thinking that our cornerbacks, we'll just jump right into this conversation about the defense as a whole. We came into the season thinking our cornerbacks would be our strength, and our linebackers would be our weakness, is what we came into this season saying. We know L'Jarius Sneed, Roger McQuarrie, Jarvis Brownlee Jr. We thought, we had some rookies that could just sit back and grow, and Marcus Harris. And, we're like, okay, well, Darryl Baker started, last year, and he had some flashes of being a solid fill-in piece. And then the season starts, and L'Jarius Sneed played about 2.5 games, still dealing with the fact that he shot somebody, maybe allegedly.
Calling out Nico Collins. Who?
Calling out Nico Collins and getting Nico cooked. Almost gave 200 yards. And then we trade Jarvis, we trade Roger. It's just one of those things, man, where the secondary as a whole was just disappointing. And that's the button I think we pressed the hardest reset on that I've ever seen mid-season. I've never seen us essentially. I know, Sneed was no fault of anybody in the building, but in terms of, him being hurt, quote unquote. But we did a hard reset mid-season. We've got a lot of work to do when it comes to the secondary. We'll keep this brief, but Sauce, Cody, tell me about your thoughts on the secondary this season, if you've got anything to add.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually run a quick question by y'all. Just how this season's kind of played out. Is cornerback a position where you would kind of, I don't know if the word's kick the can, but try to be cheap there and just focus on getting the pass rush and, going getting Jeff Simmons. He got 11 sacks this year. Maybe Trevondre Sweat. I want Trevondre Sweat around Jeffrey Simmons this entire offseason. Because I think if Trevondre Sweat can lose 30 pounds, 40 pounds or something like that, he is going to be an absolute force. And then you bring in, short arms, Ruben Bain with that, and you get this defensive line rolling. Is that a position that you can kind of be like, you know what, we can just try to make it work on the back end? You got Kevin Winston back there, Monty Hooker, and then you could just kind of supplement with some not like like super cheap options or scrubs or anything like that, but just you don't need the luxurious sneeds and pay the tag or pay the price on that. What y'all think about that?
I mean, it's definitely an interesting approach. Um, I could see that being a pathway, or something that they may have thought about when they started to make these moves. Now we'll talk about it more in the free agent episode, but we'll see how they'll take their approach on supplementing in free agency and in the draft. Because they do have the cap space to make some of those moves. So it should be very interesting. But I think you can still get some late round talent. I mean, Jarvis Brownlee was, essentially that, and he panned out pretty well. So it's a gamble for sure, but I think it can be done.
Yeah, I mean, we need to fill like three core positions. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, I think slot is fine with Marcus Harris coming back. Hopefully he returns the same from his injury. He was playing pretty solid football for us. The free agency is full of, you know, those mid tier cornerbacks this year, which I feel like is always kind of a pop of corners. So sign two or three of those guys, draft a guy. And yeah, Cody, I do think this is where you kick the can down the road. I don't think you invest any pick in the first three rounds into corner unless you trade back in the first and you try to go get one, or you just fall in love with somebody in the second round. But I think the edge and wide receiver positions are such a need for us where that's where I'd stand. But it's a great question, man. It's a great question because I do think our safety room is a strong piece for us. I do think that having Hooker here, who just signed an extension, he didn't have the greatest year. He didn't. But having Winston, which is the biggest piece for me,
Mm.
really shores up the back end. Because I know at the end of the day, Hooker's not going to just be a liability. At minimum, he'll be average. Are we paying him as average? No, it's a different conversation for a different day. Winston showed so much to me that, like, just go get a couple guys and just let it be a serviceable secondary overall. I'd be okay with. Sauce?
Yeah, I'm in that same boat. I think you have some of the core pieces that you can build around. You do what complements them, and then build around it. And then we just hope that whoever is on the staff that's a defensive coordinator can pull out the best in these guys and put them in the best position to win. But like I said, I think you take your dabbles at the free agency, because right now our cornerback room, our DB room is depleted. You know what I'm saying?
It's
It's literally
dire.
Clint House. It's literally Clint House. So I
Just
think
Marcus Harris coming back on contract.
so I think even with these mid tier guys, you bump up that DB grade immediately. You know what I mean? So you take that approach. You see the best talent that fits the schemes, and then you go in if you find a guy late round that really like screams to you, or if somebody falls that's not supposed to fall, then you take your swing and you go and get them. So yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. Shout out to Nart Wilson. He was
He did his
dealt
thing,
He
man.
he tried. He tried to make it work.
he did the best that he could, man. Like, the defense could have definitely been worse. Like, that's just kind of the way I think about it. Like, there were games where we probably should have gave up 200 to every receiving core we played. You know what I mean? Just a one
Mhm.
receiver on every team we played, I should say. And he at least held it together the best that he could. He didn't ask for any of this, I'm sure. You asked me to be an elite level basketball player, but you take away my trainer. You don't give me a basketball, and I don't have a rim to practice with. You know what I mean? Like, I just have to imagine and get just air shots in all day. Like, it's just one of those things where he was stripped of everything. And pivoting to the other side of the house, where I think was a strength for us, surprisingly, was our front seven. I think that the Jihad Ward combination with Draymond Jones at the beginning of the year kind of really turned that corner around week 4 or 5. Draymond Jones, I think he came in like 4 or 5 games straight with a sack going into the trade deadline. Jihad Ward with his crazy celebration, whatever he does, was solid. Savondre Sweat actually quietly had just a solid year. He was a really solid run stopper in terms of PFF grade. I still want to see the pass rush production go up.
Please.
But when you're not being helped by anybody but Jeff on that side of the house, it is what it is. But getting to the linebackers, and we'll talk about a couple specific players. Cody Barton is also a piece along with Sebastian Joseph Day, where I think those are just two of the solid rotational pieces in our front seven with Cody Barton. You know, he's on contract, but I would love to just see both of them back to be pieces to hold it together. But give me your general thoughts on the front seven. And Cody, I'll let you dive into Big Jeff, and then a Sauce follow up with Mr. Seti.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, uh, Jeffrey Simmons was just absolutely phenomenal this year. I mean, we've already given him his flowers. He was an All Pro first team, well
Balled out this
deserved.
year.
I mean, there's few bright spots this year. Watching Jeffrey Simmons play this year was appointment television. I mean, he was wreaking havoc all the time. I mean, he played 15 games and got 11 sacks. I mean, to be an interior defensive lineman, dude, that is phenomenal. And I remember just in the preseason, people talking about him not willing to. He was kind of like working out on his own. He was kind of doing his own thing. And I I said something. I was like, I think he needs to be there. He shut me up 100%. I ain't never gonna say nothing again. You do your thing, Jeffrey Simmons.
We don't need to see you to the first snap of the first regular season game.
You just let me know when you want to play, and I'll be ready to watch. Yeah. I mean, he had 11 sacks. Chris Jones had 7. Quentin Williams 3. Jalen Carter 3. I mean, by far and away the best interior defensive lineman, and there's no discussion. It's not even close. I don't want to hear nothing from nobody. And this is the complete reason why Borgonzi said, I want to keep him around. He's a leader. He wants to be here, which shockingly enough, like the guy that's the best player on the team, that's one of the worst teams in the league. And he wants to be here. He wants to be a Titan. He wants to be part of the rebuild. And
it's a beautiful thing.
It's awesome to see that from out of your best player, dude. I can not be more appreciative of Jeffrey Simmons this year, to be honest with you.
And I'll say one quick thing, and Randy, I'll let you jump in. He, amongst defensive tackles for all these stats, first in sacks with 11, first in pressures with 60, first in pressure rate with 13.9, which is crazy elite. If you look at the graphs, he's like in the far top right corner, which means you are absolutely excellent. And nobody's even in that quadrant half the time. He's amazing. 18 pressures when after double teamed, first in amongst defensive tackles. 5 turnovers caused by pressure, first amongst defensive tackles. 7.5 sacks on third down alone, first amongst defensive tackles. Absolutely elite season. Deserves first team All Pro. Deserves first team All President. And what I mean by that is he's the president of every defensive player in the league, not named Myles Garrett. He is a monster. He's the VP. I'll give Myles Garrett the president of the year, but VP is Captain Jeffrey Simmons, and I mean that in every sense of the word. But let's pivot over to our other defensive stalwart. Sauce, talk to the people, man.
Man, we're going to touch on Cedric Gray, man. I mean, what an outstanding year. I mean, he surprised every Titans fan, man. I thought he would come in, pretty interesting this year, but I know he struggled in that first year. But man, what a way to 180 this thing. Cedric Gray, 164 total tackles this year, crazy. And 97 solo, and then he also has 67 assists. He also had a sack. He balled out this year, man. He was really, really a bright spot for this defense. He continued to show up every game. I mean, he did get hawked down on that on that field goal.
on the pick 2.
Yeah, he want to go get that 2-point, but nonetheless, man. I mean, what a season, man. This guy, man, he really is a promising player, for years to come, and I'm excited to watch him play. But yeah, man, he balled out this year. I mean, Cody Barton, same thing. I mean, he played tremendous this year. He had 81 tackles. He also had 37 solo, 44 assists. He also had a sack as well. I think he had a interception. Did he have a pick 6 this year as well?
He did have a pick 6 against the Chargers, like the first pass play of the game, actually.
Yeah, so Cody Barton, I mean, shout out to him. He did his thing. And I mean, we got some really, really good bright spots on this defense to continue to build around and invest in these guys. I'm gonna miss old Roger McCreary. I'm gonna miss some of these guys that got shipped away, but with these core guys and these core pieces, I think, with whoever we supplement in free agency and in the draft, I think we'll be all right as a defense.
I think so, man. I think we're a few pieces away, from at minimum being like at the average to maybe slightly above average spot defensively. If we get the right defensive end and edge rusher, I'm gonna get talking crazy next year. You hear me? But again, Cody Barton 3 interceptions for the year, and he was a guy who, came into the season where I think people were really worried about his overall, pass coverage ability. He had 11 pass deflections. Like Cody Barton was in the right spot at the right time and made plays consistently. Like there, he looked lost maybe the first couple of games, and then he really turned it on. So I just got to give a shout out to him, and it was a great pick by Borgo. Like his free agent class, was solid. I'll definitely say, but I'm excited to see what he does with another group of free agents and draft members defensively. So just to kind of have an overarching conversation. We've kind of went through all of the players. We're an hour plus in. Thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Do the special teams real quick before we get up out of here. That was an extremely bright spot, man. Bones Fossil did his thing. Liam, talk to or matter of fact, Cody, please give Chimere DK some love of what he did on special teams this year.
Well, there's been a lot of football players to return a lot of punts. There's been a lot of players that have played and accumulated all-purpose yards. And, Chimere DK has set the NFL record for all-purpose yards in his rookie season. And again, an all-pro. And really, he was in a lot of these games when the offense wasn't doing anything, he would be like a spark plug with like the punt returns and the kick returns and everything. It constantly felt like he was getting us good field position. He was just he exceeded my expectations, I would say. It was awesome to see. But yeah, why don't y'all glaze Chimere DK a little bit for me? I want to hear what y'all think.
Relax. Golly.
Lim specifically.
Chim was he was the most pleasant surprise on the team this year. I think that for me, even as a wide receiver creeping towards that 500 yards receiving was much more than I thought he would really have the opportunity to do, to be honest with you. I obviously didn't predict Lockett being gone. But him as a punt returner and a kick returner, but primarily as a punt returner, was so dynamic. I mean, we spent the last 3 or 4 games where I was just kind of hoping, like, okay, are they going to at least try to kick it to him once this game? Like, they were just kicking it through the end zone. We'll give it to you at the 30, 35. Like, we don't care. Like, that's how dynamic he was, where they were willing to give up field position versus giving him the ball. I mean, there were so many times where he would get us. We're starting around midfield. We get a first down, get a false start, take a sack, and now we're punting. Like, he like he gave us so much potential, though. I think if there was like a stat that existed that was like potential yardage based off what this player did, he would have led the league in that. You know what I mean? Like, I know that's like a crazy imaginary stat, but like legit, if Patrick Mahomes was your quarterback and he had the best offensive line in the world, we might have scored 60 a game with him, with the way he set our offenses up time and time again. So just a big shout out to him. And also Johnny Hecker. Like, yeah, Johnny Hecker didn't have like just like this phenomenal year, but he was just solid, and I don't know how I feel about Joey Big Thigh Sly.
I'm ready to get a new kicker.
Yeah, like he it's one of those, if you bring him back, okay. The biggest thing for me on special teams is bring back Bones Fossil. We know Chim's not going anywhere. Bring back Bones Fossil and Morgan Cox. I don't know why, but every snap's perfect. I don't care. But bring back Bones. That's the biggest thing for me. He is kind of the glue. Our quasi head coach this year too. Like, he had a lot on his plate and he was still balling. Like, he just changed around what people may forget was historically bad special teams unit for years. Like, not to poke the bear a little bit, Cody, don't cuss me out, but even under Vrabel, we had some pretty poor special teams units.
Craig Aukerman, he's talking to you.
Like, we wouldn't fire the kid. I mean, freaking Stonehouse's career ended essentially
Cole Anderson, he was like, "Well, they're in the NFL. I thought they knew what to do."
So what are you teaching them technique wise? Teaching them they play in the league. What? Like just craziness, man. Like we had historically bad, like literally historically bad special teams unit. I remember the Lions game last year. Like we had like 400 yards given up in return yards, like just something ridiculous. But we broke an NFL record. So shout out to Bones, man. He really solidified that. After the first few games where I kind of got used to having a solid special teams unit, I didn't really fear much aside from Joey Slye potentially missing a kick. Like outside of that, I wasn't worried about Hecker shanking it. I wasn't worried about punt returners fumbling the ball or people not being where they needed to be. Or even on the other side of the house, I wasn't worried about a big return. Our gunners were pretty solid, and that's with our gunners getting hurt throughout the season, with it being Marcus Harris for a while, with it being, Darrell Baker before he got thrusted into being a starting corner, with it being Bryce Oliver, who, was actually known for being one of the really solid gunners in the league. So big shout out to Bones, man. Big shout out to Big Bones.
Yes, sir. That's good, man. That's all I wanted. I just wanted us to, what I'm saying, get some love out there to the special teams,
One quick thing on
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. My bad. I was gonna say one quick thing on Chim. How far do you think his eyes rolled in the back of his head when they called the screen pass for him? Because I think his stats on screen passes was like 10 catches, 17 yards.
and it like legit, and it wasn't just
what
the
they told
call
to run
of
the end around.
Like it would be, the end around was terrible too. It would be like, hey, we're gonna run you on the end around, we're gonna run you on the screen, but listen to this. They've got Patrick Willis at linebacker. They're never going to expect Mason Kinsey to block him. So we're going to send him out there to take him on one-on-one. You just run right behind him. We'll get to the end zone. Like it was the most poorly drawn up screens I've ever seen in my freaking life. What are we doing?
I had to get that out there for Jim because his stats got wrecked at the start of the season. 4 catches,
man.
-3 yards. I mean, what are we doing?
Man, so all right, we'll wrap up this episode. Want to give you guys a quick preview on what's coming up in these next few days, next few weeks, whatever. So next week, early, we'll be putting out an episode called The Perfect Offseason, where we're going to dive into some specifics about what we would love to see the Titans do, and that includes the coaching search. We'll also have a coaching search conversation. Now that we've got the majority of the people who've been listed, we'll let this weekend get past to see if anybody else gets requested, and we'll dive into some of our favorite candidates for you as well. And then we'll just continue to push through the offseason. We got some free agent deep dives. There'll be a lot of moves that are made. We're talking about what, fellas? 2-3 weeks and coach is going to be hired. Offensive coordinator is going to follow right behind that. I mean, this offseason is going to get
It's going to ramp up real quick.
I'm excited for it, man. But, Sauce, Cody, any comments before we close today?
Man, it was a great first season. I mean, doing this with y'all it's been so much fun. We try to be as entertaining as possible. Sometimes this team made it difficult to talk about them, and we just try to laugh through the pain sometimes, man. But we appreciate everybody coming out, hanging out with us. We love doing this, and just thank you for sure.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off of that, man. Just like Cody said, man, I appreciate everybody that has been just tuning in to the shows, either Lost in the Sauce or Press Man coverage, man. We over 70,000 subscribers now. Like it's a beautiful thing. So let's continue to just build. We're gonna have a fun off season. We got some special stuff planned. Just stay tapped in with us and continue to just share amongst friends, man. So hey, other than that, man, tighten up, man. I'm excited for the off season.
Peace, man. Thank you guys for joining us.